All right, are we good? Hello, okay. It's 6 o'clock and I will call to order the Plainfield Charter Township Board meeting for September 8th, 2025. We'll begin our meeting with the invocation and pledge led by Susan.
Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening at the end of a beautiful fall day. Bless our township and our residents and the servants that serve us in the township, and may we hope for a bright and happy future for Plainfield. Let your light shine through us wherever we go and whatever we do, that you will guide our steps and help us appreciate our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Thank you, everyone. Next item is public comments. I will open the floor for public comments. We have some rules. Let me go over those. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. As you see, there's a clock up on the screen to help you with your timing. No individual may speak more than once. Public comments are not a question and answer period. Be respectful of others. No abusive or obscene or irrelevant comments will be allowed. So having said all that, I'll just go one more step. Sometimes we have people make public comments and then we might address those at the end during the superintendent or our comments. And a lot of times those people leave. So I'd encourage you to hang out if you're looking to see if you might get an answer. I'm not promising you answers, but it might happen. So if you'd like to make a comment, raise your hand. I'll call on you. You have to go up to the podium. You state your name and address for our record, and then off goes the clock. I saw you raise your hand very first, sir. Yes. Can just a moment. Okay, don't forget name and address for record.
Okay. Giancarlo Bannon, 2931 Isle Grant Drive, Vermont. I haven't even start talking. You already starting with the clock? Are you ignoring what I just said? Yeah,
Please make your
okay.
comments.
The last time I asked you to remove my name out of the internet. Now I'm going to tell you, I want it off. I want it off. I realize the public opinion or public records, but if that's public records, I want all your name on the front page of the township with your title, because also that is public records. Secondly, I want the township to be open on Friday. You're not here for your convenience. You're here for our convenience. And you being closed on Friday is not our convenience. So every other township is open on Friday. You need to be here on Friday. On top of that, we're not going to have Mr. Weingarten making over $200,000 a year for working barely 3 days a week. That's unheard of. And that would not be tolerated. As a matter of fact, the only thing I got from this gentleman was arrogance. And I'm asking for him to resign. And I'm asking for his resignation. And I'm going to push for his resignation. That might not be successful, but that's what it will be. This township, none of you had the decency the last time when I said that, had the decency to call me and hear my side of the story. That means that all of you are in cahoots with each other. That isn't going to happen either. And if you think you can have it.
Okay, we're getting close to being threatening, so I'm going to caution you.
No, it's not threatening here.
Be careful with your statements.
I'm very careful with my statement. Okay? And don't come here and tell me that I'm threatening. I'm just telling you have, if you think that you can ignore what I'm saying, I got something new coming for you. And it's not a threat, is just a suggestion, okay? This is getting ridiculous of what's going on with this township. You can laugh all you want. You think you're good. You think you're better than the next guy. You think you're working for us, no us for you. I hope you understand that. You're working for me and all of these people, not for yourself. And that's not going to stay that way anymore. So you can go ahead and laugh or think I'm funny or think because I have an accent I don't know what the devil is going on. I do. Okay? And by the way, your transparency is a joke. I would challenge anybody here to go into your internet or the township and find out where you have your budget and everything else.
Your time is up.
My 3 minutes
Thank
is
you.
up.
Thank you.
You got it.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jay Fagan. I'm at 6150 Blythefield. And I received a ordinance enforcement letter about a month ago, August 11th. And I spoke with Deputy Jacob Connor about it, and he gave me some information, but suggested I come here to speak to you, and so here I am. And so it's a pretty trivial point, I think, but I have a 6-foot by 12-foot flat trailer that's been parked where it is right now for 25 to 30 years. There's never been a complaint about it, but there was just a complaint about it by someone. So when I received that, I was surprised. I talked to my 3 neighbors that have to look at it or do look at it frequently, and their responses were in order: "You're kidding me? Really? No way. I like seeing it out my front window." So those were the comments from the people that see it the most. But the letter states, and the confusing part is, and I think it was Deputy Connor that told me this, I'm on a corner lot, so I have 2 fronts to my house, according to him. And I find that's sort of almost illogical. I have no other place to put this trailer. I have a big backyard, but I'm getting old and I can't, it's a heavy trailer, so I can't get it in and out. So where it sits has been where it's been for decades. And my hope is right now that I'm asking someone of authority to meet me at my house and whenever they can get there, and let's work together and tell me where I can put it, where it's going to be a win-win for you and for me. But that's where I'm at. I'm just looking for an agreeable conclusion to this what appears to be a problem to somebody, but it's not a problem to my neighbors or to me. So, okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jerry Berg. I live at 764 Strawberry Valley Avenue Northwest, Comstock Park. That took about half my time saying that. So I am here today just to share a bit of information with you today. I am the newest member of the board of the Plainfield Grand Rogue Historical Society, and I do want to share a few notes. One is our appreciation for the topic that I see later on the agenda, 5C, for the 250th Revolutionary War anniversary, and the support and appreciation that the board has given to that committee. I'm on that committee as well. I'm very happy about that. But I'm also here to share a bit of generic news and supposedly popular and successful news. The Plainfield Grand Rogue Historical Society is doing immensely well. We are so successful, getting more members, and I want to share that with the community too. For example, this past weekend, we just debuted our brand new exhibit, Captain Heiser's Civil War, which talks about the role of William Heiser, one of the early community leaders of Plainfield, and his role in the Civil War as a leader leading Plainfield soldiers into battle successfully and enlisting multiple times. And so it's a very fascinating story. And we at the Historical Society are working to uncover not just his story, but all of these fascinating stories of Plainfield and its role in America and Michigan's early frontier life and its growth to what it is today. For example, at the debut event this past weekend, where we had a historical reenactment encampment in the yard, in addition to docents showing off the exhibits in the house, including Captain Heiser's Civil War, we had over 100 visitors, which is a record breaker for our regular open houses. We're very excited about this. We have lots of new plans for new projects going forward. And overall, I just wanted to share our appreciation for the support of the community and let you know that we have many new, exciting projects coming up in the future. I would like to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I do need to let you know I have some students who need to learn how to fight like pirates, and I have to get and teach them that after this. So with that, I want to thank you all for your time in listening to this. I encourage you all to follow and keep up to date on the Historical Society's comings and goings. Plainfield, Tuesday, I invite you all to come to our open house from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Heiser Rivers Museum, so you yourself can see the new exhibit, Captain Heiser's Civil War. That's Tuesday, 2 to 4 p.m. Thank you for the reminder. Just in time. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, and thank you for what you're doing for our community. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Brian DeVries, 3347 Rogue River Road, Northeast. I just want to add to what Jerry said, that you saw him in uniform. He talked a lot about the Civil War. That is not a Civil War uniform or Captain Heiser's uniform. That is a Revolutionary War uniform. And he has the ability to demonstrate both. And part of what you'll be talking about with 250 or item 5C tonight and the proposal we have next year is we would like to do an exhibition with Revolutionary War, with the man of that knowledge and with the background in history to do it proud for, although this township obviously wasn't formed in that time frame, that we're trying to celebrate America too in our township. And that was Jerry's effort. That was the Revolutionary War.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Evening, Larry Dells, 2778 Northfield Drive. I had three things, but you said no questions, no answers, so I'm gonna have to rephrase things a little bit. I was surprised when I got the township newsletter about the water bill is gonna go monthly and they have a Motown address. I'd like to know why that is happening. And I got my my summer taxes out, and that's supposed to be mailed to Lansing. And one other deal, who's gonna be responsible for all the flowers and trees and weeds in that new median on Plainfield? I hope the township is not gonna have to foot the bill on that. That's it.
Thank you, Larry. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Art Spalding, 3301 Sunset Bluff. I want to, in light of earlier comments, speak in support of Mr. Van Weingarten. I have had occasion to participate in township affairs for the last 42 years. I've served on the township board, the planning commission, and multiple committees, including the community committee appointed by the township board that recommended Mr. Van Weingarten for his position. I have to say I'm very comfortable with that recommendation that we made some years ago. I don't disagree with the comments regarding the township board not being, or township offices not being open on Friday. As a practicing attorney, I frequently have had occasions to contact a variety of communities around West Michigan. And it's very frustrating when I contact some of the more rural townships that are only open 2 or 3 days a week when you want information now, not tomorrow or next week. So I would add that comment. But Mr. Van Weingarten has been instrumental in introducing methods of communication between the township and its citizens. so that we know and have an opportunity to know not only what happens at the township board meetings, but what happens in our departments, in the fire department, and with the police by the county sheriff's department, and all those other things that go on. He is reporting to us on a weekly basis, and we know what's going on. I know from personal knowledge that Mr. Van Weingarten works more than 3 days a week. I suspect that there are a lot of weeks that he puts in time on 7 days during the week. It's not an easy job. It's not a 9-to-5 job, and it has a lot of nuances that people don't see that aren't around and who aren't involved. And I just want to make sure that you know that there's at least one member of the community that is supportive of Mr. Van Weingarten. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Julie Clark Mills, 4136 Huntington Avenue Northeast. Say good evening to everybody. Public speaking isn't one of my favorite things, so bear with me. I attended the last meeting when we were gathered here for the budget meeting, and I have to say it was very disappointing to listen to everyone discuss how much money you were bringing in, how much money you were spending, how much money you can anticipate garnering from us, the taxpayer, and then how much you were going to be able to spend. And if you didn't have enough money to spend, some of you had enough nerve to suggest that you put it to the millage because our backs are not burdened enough with property tax. We need a new firehouse. Since when does a firehouse only last 30 years? Has it been 30? About that. New fire truck for $2 million? Sorry, I understand needs. Salon Township just got one for $800,000, completely automated. Why is ours $2 million? How much burden do you want to continue to lay upon us? Are you each sociopathic in the fact that you disregard the pressure that you put upon us to continue to fund because there is not apparently fiscal responsibility, because anytime you want more money, you just come and ask us for it. What about you ask us to levy our homes? Because not one thing, 99% of that budget meeting was spent on taking in and spending. What did I hear? 1%. If necessary, we may have to furlough some people if you can't meet the budget. I suggest you dig deeper. I suggest you show a little bit more concern for those of us who have been here supporting this township through a variety of ways, but mainly through our property taxes. What is your plan if that goes away? Have you discussed that? Because it's a very real possibility with axmytax.org on board. You might want to consider digging deeper and not into my pocket or their pockets. Just keep putting it on the ballot like an insolent child before you get the answer you want, because people are too tired, they're not available, they don't know any better than to just say no. No more money. Do your jobs, dig deeper, find a way to stop burdening us, because we'd like to keep our homes. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the floor for public comments, and we'll move on to our business at hand. First item is to review our consent agenda. Without any questions, comments from the board, I would seek a motion to approve our agenda, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
I move the agenda, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
Thank you, Susan. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Jack. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Emminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty, Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes,
Mr. McKellar, yes. Motion carried.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is to hold a public hearing for our proposed 2026 budget. Cameron?
Okay, a lot of these same points are what we discussed at our budget workshop at the last meeting, so I'm not going to take as long this time to go through the slideshow, but for those that missed that, we'll hit some highlights. So we have the 2026 budget. Some of the highlights, the millage is proposed to be the same as it has been for the last 10 years, 3.7 mils for the general fund. The Trails Fund, which was voted on by voters in 2016 at half a mil, is down to I think 0.46 mils and change right now. So a slight reduction in the millage. And as you look at what it's going for, okay, so significant revenue sources, state shared revenue. There's a lot of discussion in Lansing about revenue sharing. The largest portion of revenue sharing comes from constitutional revenue sharing, which is a portion of the the sales tax. And then there's the statutory revenue sharing, which is what the legislature's been talking about in their budget right now. And then there's other investments and grants and other funds that come into other significant revenues as well. So as we look at where the money comes from, property tax is the lion's share for local governments. State shared revenue is about 28%. We do what we call reimbursements. So finance department covers the billing and payroll for the other enterprise funds like water and sewer, so there's reimbursement there. Interest has been higher in recent years. It's not normally this significant an income segment of a portion of the income. Cable franchise fees is a shrinking portion, and then everything else makes up about 5%. So we looked at revenue projections for 26. Again, property tax is the largest one at 7.4 million, state shared revenue, and then on down. We're looking at a general fund budget of 13.8 million, and we get into where's that money gonna go. That money is, skip down to the graph here a second, largely going for public safety services. Fire department is roughly 30% of it, law enforcement about 11%, and then all the other functions that some of which support those fall into the other brackets here. The last piece of that we discussed was the trails millage, which will be expiring unless the voters choose to continue it. And so that we've got $1 million for our next trail project, which hasn't been named yet, after the Rogue River Trail. And then the intent is to hold the balance in reserve for maintenance of those trails, which will come due at some point as the trails start to age. So again, the voters will have to decide if that millage is to continue or not. Otherwise, it will expire after next year. So here we are for the public hearing of the budget, September 8. We have 2 more steps before this is finally done. We'll hold a second workshop on October 6th, and that meeting we will have our enterprise fund, so water, sewer fund, as well as our capital improvement fund. We'll talk about items like fire engines and parks improvements and all those things. I do want to clarify a misstatement that was made in public comment. A typical fire engine costs about $800,000 to $900,000. A $2 million unit is a ladder truck. Our platform engine, if we were to replace it as it is today, would be about a $2 million purchase. Our fire chief has looked for options that would be less costly, but not a whole lot less costly, because there's nothing in the fire world that's a whole lot less costly right now. So we are looking at significant costs just to keep our fire service just as it is today. So costs keep going up. I think the chief was saying the fire engines alone are, 160% increase over the last 10 years or so. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of that's industry consolidation, private industries profiting off of fire engines, basically. So that's what we're facing as we look at capital costs. So that's kind of it. That's what we covered at our last meeting. No significant changes to the budget since we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We're still waiting to hear from Lansing on final numbers on revenue sharing, but the way the state's budget cycle lines up with our budget cycle, it's kind of a mix and match of fiscal years, and we don't always anticipate full funding when we put the budget numbers together. So that's kind of it.
Okay, thank you. I'll open the floor now for anybody who'd like to make a public comment on this issue specifically. Yes, sir. Art?
Art Spalding, 3301 Sunset Bluff. I note the extremely huge, outrageous millage rate of 3.7 mils. I say that with both tongue-in-cheek and tongue stuck in my mouth, because if I lived in the city of Rockford, I'd be paying 14 mils. If I lived in the city of Grand Rapids, in addition to the property tax, I'd pay 1% of my income as an income tax. We have one of the lowest tax rates of any community in Kent County. Everybody wants to pay less in the way of taxes, but without taxes, we don't get certain benefits. I believe the three largest expenditures on the township budget, first being the fire department. We also have a very large expenditure to the county sheriff's department for policing services throughout the township. And we're spending $750,000 a year to improve the roads in Plainfield Township at no expense to the adjoining property owners. There is no special assessment for that. You don't get services unless you pay for them. And I, for one, am comfortable that 3.7 mils is a bargain for the services that we are provided in Plainfield Township. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Larry Dell's 2778 Northfield Drive. Years ago, I tried getting a special millage for our fire department. Half a mil would go a long ways. I really honestly think we should think about that and go for a special millage strictly for the fire department. Those engines aren't gonna get any cheaper. Maintenance, we've been very, very fortunate we've gotten by. And training, equipment, everything has gone sky high. And everybody in this township is I want to say this, could be affected at any time by the fire department and their emergency medical services too, which has been fantastic. So I would like the board to think about bring it to a vote for the people, if it's possible, to okay a half a mil for the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. He had his hand up before.
Again, Giancarlo Vannon, 2931 Isle Grand Drive, Northeast. I would agree with the gentleman that 3.7% is not that much, but 3.7% depends on what kind of pocketbook a person has. On the other hand, I see a lot of waste all over the place, i.e. one is, what is your township doing for us, except costing us money, and except being arrogant, okay? The other thing is this, who did the job in Plainfield, on Plainfield Road? Who did that job? Did you guys pay for that job? I don't know, but I see money being thrown on stupidity that doesn't count. And they spend probably millions of dollars there. I see all kinds of, how about the roads? The roads are it's a shit show, excuse me the expression. But, you know, where do we go with this? You know, my suggestion is we want to really cut down, let's get rid of all the townships. It's about time. Let's consolidate our expenses. Let's consolidate a lot of things. We are not going to, it's way too expensive the way we are structured. Way too expensive. There is no need for it. We don't need you. It can be done very easy by a county, and we can save ourselves $8 million in payroll that you're spending every year. For what? For being arrogant? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, everybody else has been doing that, so why don't you
I'm not like everyone
indulge
else.
us?
All right, Julie Clark Mills, 4136 Huntington Avenue. So just to be clear the air, make sure everybody understands me correctly, I don't have a problem with the fire department. My point is priorities. If we need a $2 million fire truck, figure out how to get it. Figure out how to get it without asking us for more money. There's got to be cuts somewhere. There's got to be money somewhere that you can find. I personally am tired of paying Prine and Newhoff for the last 50 years. How come they're always our go-to? Where's the connection? Someone. Where's the connection? Are they always the lowest bidder? What do we spend for them to search out water continually? Searching for clean water. It's not going to happen, but yet we keep paying them on the taxpayer dollar. Why don't you take Prine and Newhoff and the whole search for clean water and set it aside because we know it's not going to happen. And then you can start putting some of that money towards our new fire truck that we need so desperately. Or how about the money that was spent, given again to Prine and Newhoff to do a rendering for Ambrose Park, which has been completely neglected. But we have 1.4 million in the Parks and Rec slush fund, but yet the bastard child of Ambrose Park sits there neglected. Priorities. You want a fire truck? You can find the money without asking us for it. You know you can. Oh, and we all don't live on an attorney's income. So apples and oranges, we live in Plainfield, not Rockford. And if you don't mind paying 3.7, that's fine. Maybe I don't mind either, but I don't want to pay any more. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Deb.
Deb Havens, 2449 Omega Drive. I just wanted to thank the Board of Trustees for the investment that you do make in running this township as well as it is run, and especially for the support of organizations such as our Senior Center and definitely such as our Heiser Rivers Museum, which is the only historical building sanctioned by the state of Michigan in Plainfield Township. And it's coming on 50 years that the township has seen fit to invest in this property, to make sure that there is respect for those who have come first in this township, built it, organized and lived here. And I know the future is equally important, and I thank you for taking the time to analyze what it takes to make us as successfully operating as we are. I appreciate it. I'm sure there are many, many residents who take for granted that their roads are in good shape, and when they're not, we're going to make a set aside to get them there. The employees that we have are well paid because we need competent and expertise in our employees, and that we have a lot of respect as one of the largest townships, if not the largest, in Kent County for the way that we operate. And I personally would like to encourage you for further development and investment in Plainfield Avenue and reimagining the future, which can only, with more beautification and more thoughtful investment in the kind of growth we want to see as a township. So kudos to you, and realize that there are many, many, many township residents, those who voted for you, to do exactly what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deb. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the floor for public comments, and we'll move on to board discussion. Frank, do you have anything about the budget?
I'm all set, thank you.
You're welcome. Kathy?
My questions were answered at our meeting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Susan?
I'm very happy with the presentation that was given last week at or 2 weeks ago at our budget workshop, when we went literally line by line.
Thank you,
Very
Sue.
happy.
Thank you, Susan. Steve?
I'm happy with this budget. I'm happy that haven't had to touch the millage since 2016, with all the other inflation going on. School millages, seems like they're always coming back to us for something. I'm just proud of prior boards and this board that we can keep the same millage for this year, and hopefully get some solutions for our next capital improvements.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, ditto to what the chief said, you know. And I know, talking to people around the, Kent County, the different little, like Rockford, wow, who wants to live there? I mean, it's a nice town if you're from Rockford. But the cost of property taxes, their water bill, one of my kids lived up there, and he had to shut his water off to his yard because his water bill was just astronomical. So is it the best situation? Probably not, but it's better than what's going on around us, that's for sure.
Thank you, Bob. Jack?
Could you bring that chart back up that talks about where the taxes go? Yeah, keep going. One more. No, keep going. Keep one more after that, I think.
Am I going the wrong way, Jack?
No, you're doing good. There, that's it. If you look at this chart, there are a lot of entities in this chart that you pay your taxes for. There's the school, there's the seniors, there's the jail, there's the veterans, there's the zoo, the museum, there's child development, there's Kent Intermediate School District, there's Grand Rapids Community College, there's the State Education Fund, County Operating, the District Library. These are all places where you put your taxes in. If you notice the list there, only 11% of that total goes to the township. And so if you're complaining about your taxes, it would be a good idea to visit the schools, the jail, the county, and all the other ones that are taking taxes or assessing your taxes as well, because the percentage that we're taking is very small. Secondly, and this is in response to taxes being so high, and you've done a good job in comparing them to other entities. I'm a senior citizen. I'm 84 years old. I live on a fixed income, and for me, it is not easy, and we are not voting for more taxes, and to get that very clear. But it's very easy for me to look at our expenditures and our income, and because of my situation, and I have to dig very deep to make decisions about whether taxes should be raised or not. And the first thing I believe that must be done in terms of making decisions of this nature is to come at it with a certain perspective, which is one of trust. And when you come at this situation with a degree of mistrust, you're going to have all kinds of problems with it because you are not aware of what goes into this, the working that goes into this to try to save certain expenses. The amount of work that Cameron and the staff do to change, to kind of pare the expenses down as much as we can possibly do, making choices that we don't want to make, but we have to make because there's only a certain amount of money available. And so in my situation, even though I don't have a lot of extra money and possibly at some point taxes must be raised, I do come at it with a certain degree of trust, knowing that the amount of work that goes into establishing a budget is very great. And so I know they're looking out for my best good. And as an aside, when you are increasing taxes, which we are not doing, my taxes will be increased. I'm voting at some point possibly to raise my own taxes. So it isn't like we're somehow sticking it to you and not to us, you know. So that's all I have to say.
Well done, well done. The only thing I would say is, there were some comments made. I brought up the fire station situation. I was not talking about the one on Plainfield Avenue. I was talking about the one right across the parking lot. That place dates back to the 60s, I'll bet. I know it was there in the 70s because I frequented there, and it was a family's home, not a fire station. So we're going to get in a situation where we have to look at our facilities. We have to look at spending money on capital that we own, that we have. And Jack said it, and I'll just reiterate it. People have no idea how well our township is run. The staff we have, I'd put them up against any staff in the state of Michigan. I go to county meetings. I go to supervisors' meetings from all over the place. Nobody has what we have. So it's real hard to sit here. I'm a citizen too, just like you are. I don't want to raise my taxes any more than you do. But if I have to, because we have to deliver to the community what they have to have. As we keep having homes built, developments come on, there'll be more expenses for the township. We're gonna have to have more fire. We're gonna have to have more police. We're gonna have to spend it to take care of the properties that we own. Quite frankly, some of that hasn't been done in the past. So we got some catching up to do. So I'm soapbox done. So at this time, I would seek a motion, please. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. We'll move on to our new business, which now we would consider the approval of the 2026 millage rate of 4.1648 mils. And we've already had public comment, so board-wise, Jack, do you have anything?
One additional thing, which perhaps the Headley Amendment needs to be explained a little bit. Some people say, well, my taxes are being raised on my home because my home now is worth more. And that is true, but on the other hand, the amount of money that comes into the township stays the same because on the other hand, our millage rate, our effective millage rate goes down. So if for instance, the total sum of houses, the cost of those houses, taxes goes up by 5%, the amount of money that comes into the township is lowered by 5% to equal that. That's what the Headley Amendment does. So in the end, the amount of money we get, we don't get more money because your taxes are raised. It's just that our millage, our effective millage rate goes down. Does that make sense? Maybe you can add to it too.
Yeah, I think you're certainly accurate, Jack. It's the Headley Amendment, and that's why the millage for the trails that was approved by the voters at 0.5 mils is now at 0.4648 mils after 9 years because of the Headley rollbacks that have happened there. The amount that's coming in that's additional for property taxes is because of the growth either from new properties being built or added onto, or from sales, when the Proposal A cap becomes uncapped. So someone buys a home, prior occupant was capped at a certain taxable value, now the new occupant is brought up to the full taxable value. So that's where the growth is happening. The growth is not necessarily happening in the revenue from the existing residents on existing parcels that were not transferred, no sale of the property. Between Proposal A and Headley Amendment, it's really locking those down. So yes, people do see an increase in their property tax bill because inflation goes up, but they're not seeing it because their taxes went up.
Right. The other thing too, we've heard complaints from those people that live in Northview because their taxes have gone up quite a bit. And I don't know if any of you live in Northview. Those taxes have gone up because the Northview school system has taken its millage and transferred it from the summer tax to the winter tax. Or is it the other way around? Winter to summer?
They moved their winter tax to the summer bill.
Winter to the
So they're
summer.
collecting all their funds.
All the
Not
upfront.
right now.
Right. So you get your tax bill and it goes up and you think, why am I having to pay so much more? It's not more, it's just shifted because they want their money up front. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Bob? Oh, nothing for me. Okay, Steve?
I'm good.
Susan?
Just a comment also that one of the difficult things for Plainfield to get over is that all the checks from our residents are written to Plainfield Township. And therefore, people think that all that money's coming to Plainfield. And what's the first big check each month, Jack, that goes out of the treasurer's office? To the schools.
Yeah.
Every month. And so, yeah, understanding what the millage is and how it's broken down is really important, because we are very fortunate in this community to have a 3.7 for 10 years. 10 years. And we've wiggled things around, and we've got $750,000 to the Kent County Road Commission to keep our roads and get them, they're classified by good, better, best, and we were at bad. And now we're at good on a lot.
It's good, fair, poor.
Oh,
So
okay.
I like the good, better, best. It's probably a better way of, but no.
Well, it was a huge decision of the board at the time to go from 500,000, which was an enormous amount of money, to add on an additional $250,000. The good thing about it is that the Kent County Road Commission matches what we put in. And that's part of why we decided to go ahead, because we would get a good match from the Road Commission. And every year, we've done our very, very best to use every penny of that 750. And I believe the roads look significantly better. And I'm all ready to vote.
Thank you. How about Kathy?
Hold on. No, I'm good. I just wish that every citizen in Plainfield Township would be in this discussion to hear the education that all of us need, the basic information that we need as taxpayers. So I'm good.
Thanks, Kathy. Frank?
I'm all set. Thanks.
Okay, so now I would seek a motion for the approval of our millage rate.
I make a motion that we approve the 2026 millage rate of 4.1648 mills.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Frank. Roll call vote.
Mr. Hagedorn.
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow.
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaft.
Yes.
Mr. Emminga.
Yes.
Ms. Beatty.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item B on our agenda is to consider a request from the Dykema, from, I think, James Dykema for a FOIA appeal. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tom. We have our attorney, Andy Gordon, with us tonight to help us walk through this. This is the first time in my memory that we've had an appeal go to the board. So it was some new ground in terms of policy and procedure for us to review as well. So thank you to our attorneys for helping us walk through this.
Yes, Andy Gordon from Bloom Sluggett. I think I've met everybody up here been here before, but good to see everyone again. There are two items that were prepared for you, that the public memo in the packet, and there was also a private and confidential memo that our office prepared for your consideration prior to this meeting on this particular matter. But let me just kind of give you a very basic nuts and bolts circumstance of how we ended up here. Mr. Dykema submitted a request for documents under the Michigan Freedom of Information Act on July 7th. That was responded to, and he was provided with documents, the response transmittal letter explaining the reasons why some of the documents were withheld under certain FOIA exemptions was sent back to him on August 13th. He then subsequently filed an appeal of that response in certain respects on August 19th. And he takes issue with two items that are covered by Exhibit 3 to the memo that's in the board packet for you today. And just to summarize, there was one document entitled 2023 to 2025 Change Map Overlay Draft that he wanted a copy of. And he was also challenging the documents that were withheld under the advisory communications exception to FOIA, which is found at MCL 15.243 subsection 1M. As far as what you need to decide, that when somebody is not happy with either a full or partial denial of their FOIA request, FOIA permits them an intermediate step before going to the circuit court to file an internal appeal with the public body, which is what Mr. Dykema did in this situation. That appeal is decided by what FOIA calls the head of the public body. It doesn't define exactly who or what that is. What Plainfield's policy says is that the township board is considered to be the head of the public body. So it is for the board to decide how do you want this appeal to be addressed. There are 4 options that are provided by statute, which are encapsulated in the memo in the packet. The first being to fully reverse the disclosure denial. The second being to fully uphold the disclosure denial. The third being a partial upholding and a partial reversal. And the fourth would be under unusual circumstances, as the statute says, that you can extend the decision timeframe for up to 10 business days. You have to decide, I would imagine, what those unusual circumstances are if you want to invoke that option. But we have proposed language for each of those 4 options in the board's packet. So that's the nuts and bolts. If you want to get more into the weeds on recommendations, I would suggest that the board decide at that point to go into closed session, and we can talk in more detail about it if the board would like to do that.
Thank you, Andy. I'll open the floor at this time if anybody has any public comments on this, so Andy may want to free up the podium just in case. Yes.
James Sekma, 6339 Boulder Ridge. I think he basically laid out what my 2 appeals are. First one, I kind of think it was just like there was a link in it that was supposed to populate the map and it didn't populate. Had FOIAs before, and Pete just sends me an email and says, hey, this is missed, here it is, or here's the explanation. I'm thinking that's kind of what that one was. The second one, so the original letter that I received back said, hey, we're going to redact some stuff for attorney-client privilege. That makes sense. And or for this advisory thing. So I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up, right? And I put it in here, and I hope you read it, but it said, does not apply unless the public body shows that in the particular instance, the public interest in encouraging frank communication between officials and employees of public bodies clearly outweighs the public interest in disclosure. All the communication that I received, not once did it say anything about why the frank communication should be redacted. Doesn't mention it, it just says, hey, we're gonna redact this because of this statute. And the statute says the public body, the burden's on the public body to explain why they can use this exemption. It hasn't been done. That's my appeal. If you wanna redact stuff, at least provide me what the statute calls for. If you're not gonna explain why you're gonna redact it, then I got an issue, because now why are you hiding stuff? So that's just a little bit more explanation. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. You can skip the name and address. I mean, we're up to the third time, right?
Art Spalding, 3301, and I'm not a candidate for the Township Board. I speak in favor of open disclosure. I don't have a dog in this hunt with respect to the issue that's on the agenda, but I do speak in favor of full disclosure whenever it's reasonably possible. And just because the statute allows the township to withhold information doesn't mean that it has to. It's a discretionary decision on the part of this board now, under this appeal, to decide whether or not it wants to release the information. So please take into account the need for the whole community to be able, in other circumstances, when making FOIA requests, to expect that they'll get a full and complete disclosure. I also just ask a question, which I know the attorney can answer for you, and you won't answer for me, but there is no public hearing, or no provision for going into closed session on the agenda. And I question whether or not you have the prerogative to do that without it being on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close public comment. Andy, come on back up, I guess. Do you want to speak to any of that, or do you want us to start?
I addressed the issue about some of the details more in what I provided to you as far as the privileged and confidential memorandum. If there is a desire to go into closed session at this point, then perhaps we can reschedule that at a certain time frame that makes sense for the board. If there is some issue about whether or not we can do that at this meeting yet, although we don't have it scheduled, if the board wants to do that. So again, it is up to the board to decide how it wants to proceed on this. Again, if there are any more details about specifics, that would probably be better handled in a closed session than open session.
Okay, thank you. Our time to discuss. Susan, you want to go first?
Yes. This was, for some reason or other, quite easy for me to think about dividing. Part of it was denied and part of it was accepted. And when I read through the options that we had, I think that's the route that I would choose to go.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
I'm pretty much leaning that same way, but I just need a little explanation on, so I understand the map, the map part, the other language in between. It's more like on an investigation level between
So
that's just like a,
I want to be careful of what I say here.
Okay,
So the statutory exemption under FOIA, the 1M, is to either redact or withhold documents from disclosure which are advisory in nature to some final decision that is made by the township in some form. So usually it deals with internal communications amongst township officials.
probably shouldn't have used the word investigation, but internal, just internal conversation, communication, I'm sorry.
Yeah, any communications or notes.
Kathy?
I think I'm set as far as the maps were disclosed and sent, and the letters, the communication was withheld. And that's a prerogative that we have in the township.
I want to clarify, we have not yet sent the map. It would be staff's inclination that the map was intended to be included, but because this was in the re-request to the board, we felt it was best for the board to make the determination to release that map. And so that's why tonight in front of you, there's multiple options, one of which is to grant in part, which would be releasing the map that was intended to be part of the disclosure, but then retaining other documents that the attorneys have withdrawn.
That was what I was thinking and agree to. Thank you.
Okay. Bob?
You're talking to the FOIA king here. Back during the scandemic, I was the go-to guy for FOIAs on a lot of different subjects and got to be pretty proficient at it. And one of the things that I'm a real nut about is full disclosure, because we work for you. It's like you're the boss. If the boss asks for something, we're not gonna hide it. And this doesn't sound like this is Anthony Weiner's laptop. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no military classified missile technology in this thing. So I'm for full disclosure on this thing.
Okay. Frank?
I understand.
All right. Jack?
As our attorney, we rely on you to give advice to us. What is your recommendation?
Our, well, recommendation was laid out as far as the privileged and
Would like,
confidential.
yeah, I would like to hear from you in terms of these options, what your recommendation is.
Well, I hesitate to do that because I don't want to break the attorney-client privilege on the other memo.
Yep. Jack, can I maybe interject?
Sure, go ahead.
I think our best choice, this is my opinion only, is option 3, which then would release this map that evidently it was an old link that wasn't functioning anymore or something along those lines. So release the map, but I think the secondary part of that is if our legal staff has determined that the things that were not released are client privileged, I think we need to honor that. I mean, to me, in my world, I'm thinking we're going against our legal staff's advice if we just open up everything. I don't,
I appreciate your comments. That's what I wanted him to say.
yeah, yep, well, I understand why he can't.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Are we good then? Okay, so I guess I just made my comments, so I guess at this time I would seek a motion.
I move for partial upholding and partial reversal of the disclosure denials. I move that the Township Board partially uphold and partially reverse the disclosure denials for FOIA request number 2025-82, and that the following document shall be disclosed to the requester. RE External FW Yearly Inspection 2023 through 2025, Change Map Overlay Draft. Township staff are hereby further directed to send out written notice in accordance with the township decision on the appeal to the requester and to disclose the additional identified public record by no later than Monday, September 22nd, 2025.
Support.
Thank you, Frank. Support already from Susan. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Frank? Pfaft?
Yes. Yes, Chief.
Mr. Remenga?
Yes.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
And Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, moving right along. Superintendent comment time.
Okay. This wasn't in my prepared comments, but first I want to thank everyone that showed up tonight and commented on the budget. Even if you're critical, I used to lament that the budget was the most important document that no one ever paid attention to. So thank you for voicing your opinion one way or another, and because that's how democracy works, right? So thank you for participating. I think there's some things that probably we can do a better job explaining to the public because there's some misconceptions out there. But it is good that people are paying attention and are concerned about how their tax dollars are spent, because ultimately that's the job of the staff and the board to make sure that wise decisions are made with the public's money. Couple other items. Want to note that Grand Rogue Park reopening will take place next week, Tuesday at 5 p.m. So we'll have time there to get together and kind of celebrate the completion of that work. And
Did you order sunshine?
We ordered up sunshine. We'll see if it comes on time. So, so we'll have a get together there, and whoever's able to join, that would be great. I think supervisors plan to make some comments. You know, around 5:30, I think was the plan. I don't know if that was coordinated with you yet. So.
I think I have those details yet.
Okay, we're working on the details of that'll be in the press release when that's ready to go out. And then the last item, I'm not sure if you're following baseball. I don't know if you're aware of the standings, who's got the most wins in professional baseball right now. You might guess the Tigers. Tigers are doing well. You might guess Milwaukee. They're doing really well. But the team in professional baseball with the most wins at this point in the season are West Michigan Whitecaps. So congratulations to the Whitecaps, best season they've ever had. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Board comment time. Frank?
I'm all set, thanks.
Kathy?
I'm all set, but I do want to appreciate the leadership that you provide, Cameron, and the staff. Excellent to work with, and I appreciate your expertise. And even though, Pete, you didn't get to say anything tonight, I appreciate what you all do.
Thank you. Susan?
I agree with both Frank and Kathy, but I need to take a moment and clarify that when the checks are written to Plainfield Township and then we write the check to the school, that's a wonderful cooperation for the township. It's a wonderful cooperation with the schools, and it also puts the people who know how to handle the money process doing money, and the educators just use the money for the education. And so there's nothing bad about how the tax bills are written and how it all gets distributed. I just too wanted to comment on the quality of the work that gets presented for Plainfield Township. Not too many years ago, we used to get a piece of paper that had the budget, and every department head had sat there and put all of their, we called it the wish list in the beginning, and then we started cutting down. But now we use the technology. First of all, they have a lot more technology in preparing the budget, but there's the budget itself, and all the documentation that goes with that is all online for anybody who wants to look at it, anytime. And if you have any trouble finding something, we have wonderful staff who will tell you exactly where to find it. I had a couple other suggestions if there were people who are interested in it. Every week on Thursday from 10 to 11, there's a program called Coffee with a Cop, and it's not all discussion about what we've done in the business in the meeting tonight, but it is extremely educational. Every single week there, I have learned something from Coffee with a Cop. And Jack goes, and Frank goes, and anyway, it's Thursday right here, 1 hour. Brian and his wife go to it. Anybody else in the audience tonight? Anyway, also I wanted to mention that that there's another committee that we have given a great deal of responsibility to called the Corridor Improvement Authority, CIA. And this group, a special committee that we've appointed, it's really not special, it's by the state. We're following the state laws for the work that they're going to do. And they're going to oversee the completion or the ongoing work that's involved with the Plainfield Avenue improvements. And people are concerned about the plantings and things like that. There were decisions that were made ahead of time. For example, there won't be any bushes over 2 feet high. And the maintenance of those medians will be handled by the CIA. And the CIA meets once a month at the fire station, at the education room over at the fire station. Doors are wide open. 11 o'clock, nope, 12 o'clock on Thursday, this week, the 11th. And there are several people here who have attended the CIA meetings. We just sit in the back and listen to this group of citizens for Plainfield Township as they work together, talking about what's going to happen with Plainfield Avenue. I find it very, very informative. And I would encourage you, everybody who has a chance, to find those niches in Plainfield Township where you can become really well educated for free. Coffee with a Cop, CIA, Township Board meetings, and if it's possible that the Township Board has some kind of committees coming up or anything, that the call for people to volunteer goes out on the internet, and we're always very, very happy to have a good response from our citizens. I've forgotten which job we did last. I think it was the CIA, wasn't it? And how many applications did we have for that? It was wonderful. And the committee of the board that selected we went through the applications and then we submitted them to the board for approval. It was very, very exciting. We had a wonderful cross-section of people, of education, their professions, how long they'd lived in the community. It's not something that just happens. There's a lot of work behind that. And so CIA, Coffee with a Cop, Township Board. Thank you.
Steve?
Couple of weeks ago, I attended a training in Mount Pleasant with the Clerks Association. It was involving integrity of leadership, I believe, is one of them. One was on integrity of expenditures and what we can legally spend our money on. And the afternoon session was on artificial intelligence, or AI apps, and how it makes your job easier. I thought that was going to be the highlight of the of the training, but honestly, it was a presentation that we got from a legal firm on integrity and leadership and expenditures that really pointed out and made how our organization is at that very, very high level. Just examples that they gave us, and that, we do that, we do that, we do that, is just coming back to mind. So that was good. One reminder, I will not be at the workshop due to a family medical procedure, so that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
Sounds like everybody's covered everything. I really don't have anything else to say, believe it or not.
Okay, thank you. Jack?
I just want to say one more thing about trust. We try our hardest to be open and honest, and as the attorneys said, or Art said, about being as free and open as we can with things. I know that I can speak for the rest of the board and myself. We're here to listen to you with any specific issue you have. We don't promise we can change your opinion about things or can change what you want us to change, but we are here and want to listen to you. And I wanted to say that because sometimes people out there get the feeling that because we can't respond right away, they're getting the feeling that we're not listening. And if my phone number is, I believe it's on the internet, and if it's not, I can give you my phone number and you can call me and spend some time with me. So that's it.
Everything's on the internet, Jack, so. Okay, supervisors meeting today. I don't want to steal their thunder, so I'm going to be very vague, but the Sheriff's Department will be rolling something out that I think is going to be very exciting for everyone, and help them in their efforts to make our community safer. And Susan, I looked, the National Weather Service says it's going to be 78 with only a 17% chance of rain on the opening of the park. So we should be all set. Okay, with that, we're adjourned.
Jack, I joined the CIA